All right, so for section 5.3, it's solving multi-step inequalities. So just like 5.1, 5.2, except instead of just doing one thing, like adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing, we're going to do multiple things. So our first example says the inequality F is greater than 212 represents the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit for which water is a gas or a steam. So similarly, the inequality, they gave us this inequality right here, 9/5 C plus 32 is greater than 212, represents the temperature in degrees Celsius for which water is a gas. Find the temperature in degrees Celsius for which water is a gas. So all we have to do is solve this inequality. So we have 9/5 C plus 32 is greater than 212. So if my variable is here, that means I need to get that alone. So in order to get that alone, I have to subtract 32 from both sides. So then we end up getting 9/5 C is greater than 180. All right, so again, you could do this in one step, multiply by the reciprocal. I'm going to go ahead and take my time, do it in 2 steps. So multiply both sides by 5, and we get 9C is greater than 900. Now to get C by itself, I divide both sides by 9, but I'm running out of room, so 900 divided by 9 is 100. So that means C has to be greater than 100, and then water is a gas. Pause the video, try the your turn, come back, and double check your work. All right, so for that first your turn, you should get C is greater than negative 268.89. One thing I will remind you of, don't forget that if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip that inequality. All right, so example 2 doesn't have any story to it, so it's just asking us to solve this basic problem. So 13 minus 11D is greater than or equal to 79. So we have to subtract 13 from both sides, and we get negative 11D is greater than or equal to 79 minus 13 is 66. And then we are dividing both sides by negative 11. So don't forget, we divided by a negative number, so we must flip the sign. So now we get D is less than or equal to negative 6. All right, again, pause the video, take a moment, try the your turn, then come back and double check your work. All right, so you should get y is less than 1. Again, don't forget to flip that inequality sign. All right, moving on to example 3. It says we have to define a variable, write an inequality, and then solve the problem. So it says 4 times a number plus 12 is less than a number minus 3. So now we have to define a variable. So we're going to say that x is equal to a number. So when it says 4 times a number, I can do my 4x plus 12 is less than, so that's my less than symbol, a number, so again, we said a number was x, minus 3. So we defined a variable, we wrote an inequality, now we have to solve the inequality. So I'm going to get all my variables on one side. So I get 3x plus 12 is less than negative 3. So now we have to subtract 12 from both sides. And we get 3x is less than negative 15. I'm running out of room, so I'm going to go up here. All right, so now to get x by itself, divide both sides by 3. Now, I'm not flipping the inequality sign because I divided by a positive 3. The 15 might be negative, but the number I'm dividing by is still positive. So we get x is less than negative 5. So that works out. Again, pause the video, come back, try the your turn. All right, so you should have gotten x is greater than negative 1. All right, we have one more example and one more your turn. All right, so doesn't this one look fun? I'm just going to go ahead and erase that so we can see it clearly. This one, we have more than one variable. We have parentheses with numbers outside of them. So we get to have some fun and use distributive property. So the first thing I see is I need to distribute the 5 to both of those. Now, I said 5 on purpose, but you need to look at this. And that negative sign right there, that needs to go along with my 5. So it's going to be 9t, and then I need to take negative 5 times t to get a minus 5t, and then a negative 5 times a negative 5 inside, which gives me a positive 25. That is going to be less than or equal to, distribute the 4, so we get 4t minus 12. All right, so 9t minus 5t, we have to simplify, is 4t plus 25 is less than or equal to 4t minus 12. All right, we need to get both variables on the same side. 4t minus 4t, oh, that goes away. So we are left with 25 is less than or equal to negative 12. So let's think about this for a second. Is 25 less than negative 12? It's not. That actually gives us a false statement. And since my variable's canceled, if you think back to the equations and we got a false statement, that means we have no solution. All right, so we need to think about this. When the variables cancel and I get a false statement, I get no solution. If I were to get a true statement, let's say 4 is greater than or equal to 3, then we would say, hey, that's true. And if you remember, we would have many solutions, or, you know what, I'm just going to write all real numbers. Or you could write many solutions. And the symbol for all real numbers, in case you remember, is that. All right, so last your turn, pause the video, try it, come back. All right, so in this case, we get 6 is greater than or equal to 6. But 6 isn't bigger than 6. But the one thing you do need to know is that we also have the equal to sign. So is 6 equal to 6? It sure is, so that is true. And I'm just going to